All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about something that is completely changing how we think about health, the gut microbiome. Some people call it a hidden organ or even our second genome. And honestly, the power it has over our well being is just incredible. So let's dive in. I want to start with a number. Just look at this. It's pretty mind boggling, right? That is the rough estimate of how many microbial cells are living in and on your body right now. Yeah, you heard that right. The tiny organisms living with you actually slightly outnumber your own human cells. And this quote just nails it. It really gets to the heart of this new reality. We're not just one thing. We're basically walking, talking ecosystems. And this partnership, this collaboration between our human cells and our microbial guests, well, it's the key to understanding modern health. Okay, so let's get properly introduced to this inner world of yours. We're going to explore what this ecosystem is actually all about, and more importantly, why scientists are now calling it a central organ, just as critical as your heart or your brain. So the engine room of this whole ecosystem is something called the metagenome. Basically, it's all the DNA from all those microbes combined. And it is huge. We're talking about 200 times larger than our own human genome. Think of it like this. It's a second genome that gives us all these amazing abilities our own cells just don't have, like being able to break down really tough plant fibers to get more nutrients out of our food. Now, you might think that with hundreds of different species living in there, it must be total chaos. But actually, a healthy gut is remarkably stable. For the most part, it's dominated by just two main groups, firmicutes and bacteroidetes. These two players make up about 90% of the whole population. They're the foundation of a healthy gut. So if that's the foundation, then what actually makes a gut healthy? Well, it all comes down to balance. See, gut health isn't some fixed state. It's a constant push and pull between a state of harmony and a state of chaos. And this dynamic really boils down to two key states. On one side, you have eubiosis. That's the goal. That's a gut that's diverse, stable, resilient, and actively promoting your health. But on the flip side, you've got dysbiosis. That's the danger zone, an imbalance where diversity drops, harmful bacteria start to take over, and we now know this state can actually drive a lot of chronic diseases. But here's the thing, it's not just about who's living in your gut. It's also about the physical barrier, the wall that keeps them contained. When you're in that state of dysbiosis, the lining of your gut can get damaged. You might have heard of it as leaky gut. And this is a big problem because it lets things like bacterial toxins slip into your bloodstream, which can trigger low-grade chronic inflammation all over your body. So why is that gut barrier so incredibly important? Because of this number. A whopping 70% of your body's entire immune system is located right there in your gut. This makes it, without a doubt, the headquarters of your body's defense system. And this brings us to the really fascinating part, the incredible, far-reaching power of your gut. We're going to look at how this inner world is constantly talking to and directly influencing pretty much every major system in your body. First up, the big one, the gut-brain axis. And this isn't just some vague idea. It's a real physical and chemical information superhighway running between your gut and your brain, with signals flying back and forth all the time. And just how deep is this connection? Get this, roughly 90% of your body's serotonin, that's the famous feel-good neurotransmitter, is actually produced in your gut. And its production is massively influenced by the kinds of microbes living there. Wild, right? It really makes you rethink that old phrase, a gut feeling, doesn't it? It's not just a saying. It's a literal expression of this incredibly complex network. If things are out of whack in your gut, it can literally send signals to your brain that change your mood. And the brain is just the beginning. The connections are just as crucial elsewhere. Take the gut immune axis. This is basically where your immune system goes to school from the moment you're born, learning how to tell the difference between a friend, like a piece of food, and a foe, like a dangerous virus. And then there's the gut metabolic axis, which affects everything from how many calories you pull from your food to your risk for things like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. All right, now for the best part. Because understanding all this is one thing, but how do we actually use this information? This last section is all about action. It's a practical guide to building a healthier, more robust inner world. It really starts with a super simple three-part strategy. It's easy to remember. First, you've got to feed your good microbes with the fiber they absolutely love to eat. Second, you want to seed your gut with more beneficial bacteria from probiotic and fermented foods. And third, you need to nourish the gut lining itself to keep that barrier strong. So here's your game plan. You want to focus on prebiotic fibers. That's the food for your good bugs from things like garlic, onions, and oats. You want to seed the gut with probiotics from foods like yogurt, kefir, and sauerkraut. You also want to bring in foods rich in polyphenols like berries and dark chocolate, which help reduce inflammation. And of course, the flip side is just as important. Limit the processed foods and added sugars that tend to feed the wrong kinds of microbes. But, and this is so important, you can't just eat your way to a healthy gut. Diet is a huge piece of the puzzle, but other lifestyle habits are absolutely critical. We know that regular exercise actually boosts microbial diversity. Getting a solid 7 to 9 hours of sleep is crucial for keeping that gut barrier strong. And managing your stress is essential to protect that sensitive gut-brain connection. It's all connected. So, as we've seen, the gut is so much more than just digestion. It's like a master control center for your immune system, your mood, even your metabolism, which really leaves us with one final powerful question to think about. Is learning how to take care of this complex inner world actually the single most important key to unlocking lifelong health and vitality?